Our countdown to kickoff continues. Today's stop is Alva. We get to visit with the head coach of the Northwestern Rangers, Coach Matt Walter, in his 7th season with the program. Coach, it's always a privilege to get to visit with you, and I appreciate your time today. I know that you all are in between. You have a little bit of a day off today, which is actually, it's pretty cool to give your kids a chance to get into their first day of school. Talk about camp right now, because it's been a few hundred days since you all have played.
Yeah, these guys, man, they haven't played since November 14th of 2019. So we didn't play a spring game. We had a spring practice with Fort Hays, a joint practice, kind of like the NFL does. We broke it into sections, and it was good to do that, but it was not a game, so you don't get the situations and stuff like that. But camp's been good. It's been good. It's great to get back into it. You can see a different energy level in the players because now they know they're playing towards a game. You know, when we did this fall practices and spring practices, of course your focus is getting better, but the energy's not there because the motivation isn't the same. So, it's been great first 8 days. And today I give them a day off. They have school. The first day of school for us is today. And I think it's always important to let them focus on that day. On school, and it matches up with our schedule anyway, leading up to game one. And I again, recovery too after 8 days. It's actually their second day off since we started camp, just based on scheduling and things that we needed to get done. But so far I'm real happy with where we're at. Never satisfied, obviously, but we got to continue to develop these players. And it's really weird this year because we do things like based on classification, right? So just like the simplest thing, like the first group through their physicals, your seniors, you got your juniors, you got your sophomores, then you got your basically what are called, your COVID freshmen or your 2-year freshmen. And then you got your COVID freshmen, then you got your redshirt freshmen from 2020, then you got your new 21 freshmen. So there's 3 freshman classes, and it's weird. It's different. I know everybody's dealing with it. I'm not the only one. It's just pretty interesting to see that, because you do have a group of guys, if they're redshirted in 2019, that really haven't played in a game in 3 years.
Yeah.
So, they haven't played in a game since 2018. So it's interesting with that redshirt group. To see them and where they're at, and to think that they're technically, a lot of them are almost juniors in the classroom. It's pretty wild.
No players as old as you, right, on the team, but still, I think when it's all said and done, we may be talking about 7th-year players at some point in time. But Coach, let's talk about that then, because you have so many new faces and so many new players and new to the program, and again, players that really haven't seen any meaningful ball in 3 years. With your offense, the Rangers' offense is always going to be a hard-nosed offense. Can you take us through some of the players that we're going to be seeing this season? Yeah,
I think it's pretty funny because I think a lot of us are going through our opponents' rosters. You're like, man, I don't know any. You don't know any. You don't really know a lot of them, and it's interesting to see because you're going to see, a third to half of the roster is guys you've never either heard of or seen before play. Unless you go back and find their high school films or their junior college films or wherever they came from. So I think it'll be great to see, but no one really knows what to expect, if that makes any sense. Like, I don't know what to expect out of a lot of these players from the other teams. And usually you have a pretty good idea of who, and some of those guys that were young a couple years ago, that are really good, and you remember them, and hey, he's going to be able to do this or that, and he's going to be able to bring it. So, but for us offensively, Tanner Clarkson, who started the last 2 games of our 2019 campaign, he started those last 2 games. He came in the third to last game in the fourth quarter against Oklahoma Baptist, played really well when he was in. He was a freshman, and then of course we had all last year, and he continued to work on his game, and he should, we're expecting big things from him. We think he's going to have a pretty big year. At quarterback. So we're really excited about him, and technically on the field, he's just a sophomore. So Again, really, really excited about him. In the backfield, Kalyan Baker, who did play in 2018 and 19, 18 as a true freshman. The 2019, he was the backup. This year, he's going to be the starter. We think that, he's poised for a big year. Gavin Garner's back. He played receiver for us. He actually, talk about seventh year guys. In 2017, he played as a true freshman, broke his collarbone in the first game against Monticello that year. And, of course, didn't get to play that year and then the COVID year. So he's back for his senior year. Pretty excited about him. Again, this is his 6th year. So I think that he's 6'5", 220-pound receiver that can run pretty good and has a ton of experience for us. Guys will know his name. At O-line, we got Sunday Dang, who was an honorable mention all-conference tackle for us as a sophomore in 2019, coming back for his junior year. Expect big things from him from up front. Some newcomers, Damon Williams in the backfield, running back. He transferred in and had to sit out 2019 because of transfer rules. At that time, the transfer rules have changed a little bit, but at that time had to sit out. Then, of course, last year didn't get to play, so it's been a while since he's played in a game, and we think he's going to be pretty good. We got high expectations for him. At receiver, some newcomers. Well, he's not really a newcomer. In 2019 was a true freshman. Torrance Stevens had, I think he threw for a touchdown, ran for a touchdown, and caught a touchdown in his first 3 college games ever. So he did, one of each in the game. So pretty excited about, him returning at the receiver position. Like I said, he's not a newcomer, but a couple other newcomers. We got a kid named Romello Bentley at receiver. Thinks can be really good and provide some spark for us. Isaiah Harrow, who was a backup in 2019, should start at the outside receiver position alongside Gavin Garner. At tight end, newcomer Matt Caputo. He actually did play in 2019, but he was more of a role player at that point. But in 2020, he's going to start at tight end for us. And then again up front, everybody's new except for Sunday. So we got really one returner. Guy named Demarius Warren at guard, Sam Gentry at center, another guard by the name of Josh Baker, who was on the team in 2019, played a little bit, but now we expect his role to step up. So pretty excited about those guys. Excited about our other quarterbacks too. Are pretty good. They hadn't played yet again, so they're young. Dakota Michaels and Ethan Everson at that position. So I go on and on, name the whole roster, but those are some guys to look out for, some names, to look out for. I think there might be a couple guys that may surprise us, even us, that maybe I don't mention just because of where we're at, and we're pretty early on still in camp, because I think we play in 17 days. So we do have some it'll come quick, but we do have some time in between there for a couple of these other guys are still battling for positions on the offense. But I'm pretty excited. I don't know if y'all know, but we're gonna. My offense coordinator left, so that's the one new position on offense that we replaced. So it'll be a little bit different, but we'll see. We'll see when it comes to that. So.
All right, Coach, we're speaking with Matt Walter from Northwestern here. The Rangers picked 10th according to the preseason coaches poll here in the GAC. And, you were talking about transfer rule change. Lots of rules have changed in the last couple of years. Coach, on defense, it seems like there's always some name that just stands out for Northwestern on defense. And one of those most recently, Maurice Wright, having a stellar career for you in Alva. Talk about your defense now and names that may stand out over the course of this year.
Yeah, I mean, losing last year, in 2019 we had Marcus Brent at the end and was a 4-year starter for us. Came in as a freshman and played as a freshman. Same with Maurice, same way. And then Aaron Barnes, same way, 4-year starter for us. Losing those guys, that's tough. It's hard to replace those guys, but we got a lot of talent on that side of the ball. James Ellis and Mike linebacker. Had some really good games in 2019. Should step into that role. Maurice is pretty well. Again, has a lot of experience, has played a lot. Brian Holiday up front. has started for this will be his third year starting. Up front in the secondary, we're gonna be pretty young, but Alex Aaron has got a lot of experience. Dax Benway, who started last couple games, his freshman year in 2019. So pretty excited about those guys. Those are some names that should pop off during the year. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I go on and on about a lot of these guys. We got a transfer in by the name of Alex Avakian, who we think's be pretty good at D-line. And again, pretty excited about these guys. At linebacker, Bryce Mack, Wasey Williams. Wasey's a great story because we actually brought him in as a receiver. And he's grown into a linebacker. That's what a couple of those years can do too, of not having off and just developing. So was able to move him over. Another guy, Wilson Cowell, who we brought in as a transfer. He's a 4-year transfer, which is pretty cool because you get him for 4 years. Just during the program he came from closed down, shut down. So unfortunately for that program, but
right.
Fortunately for us, because we got a pretty good player that was looking for a home. So Wilson Cowell, I think, a couple freshmen, a couple young guys that we think are going to be really good. Antonio Ferguson, Braden Gant. I could name, like I said, I'm going to miss somebody. Davin Drival. There's some guys that have shown a lot of flashes of some great things. A local kid we have here from Shattuck, Oklahoma, Sam Long, has been really, really impressive in camp as a freshman. So really excited about him. Coming from A-man, transitioning has not been a problem at all for him. Comes from a winning program. Heck, I think he won 3 or 4 state championships while he was there. So again, pretty excited about those guys.
That Shattuck program is pretty good, Coach. Yeah. It's neat to see players like that get to make that transition from 8-man ball on up. Well, Coach, I know that things get underway on a Thursday night, taking on Southern Arkansas there in Alva, and then Henderson State the next weekend. It looks like that things are going well for you, and it sounds like that you've enjoyed then the opportunity to help develop these kids and having a little bit more time to do that.
Well, I think you got to – I mean, anytime what you love to do is essentially taken away because of this global pandemic, that you got to find the positivity in it and got to find a way to harness all the energy that you usually expend on the game in another way. And for us as coaches, it has had to been in player development. We haven't been where we want to be in terms of win-loss record. I mean, it's crazy because you'll talk to teams, you'll see teams, and we'll beat teams that people say we shouldn't beat. Sometimes we'll lose to a team people say we should have beat. But any game, any week in our league, and you can see it for over the last, 4 or 5 years that we've played, guys have I don't want to say snuck up, but surprised some people. But us as coaches, we know any given week, it's tough, and there has become more and more balance in our league, which I think that's always great because you're always, the competition, and for our league is in general, we want to get more teams in playoffs, so we want obviously that. Viewpoint from the national, the national viewpoint to be that we're a very strong conference and that we need to, have 2 or 3 teams in the playoffs, and that's important for our conference growth as well. So I think that you're seeing that, and I'm excited about that. So I mean, and people have asked me how do you feel about being ranked 9th? I mean, there's some teams in there that are ranked ahead of us that we've beaten for the last few years, and it's kind of like, okay. From a competitive point of view, you're like, it doesn't, it makes you mad or whatever you want to call it. But also I'm like, man, no one's seen anyone play. It's over 600 days. So you can say this or that, and the circumstances, it doesn't really matter. It's preseason. Yeah. Do I believe the 2 at the top deserve to be at the top? Yeah, they've been the teams in the playoffs, so why change that? As coaches and SIDs, I think that vote was where it should be with those 2 at the top, and then from there on out, obviously, you want to be ranked higher, but at the same time, you don't, I mean, yeah. Because, I mean, is that motivation? For sure. You see a team voted in front of you that that you may have beaten or you may have a history with that you think that you should be ranked higher as a team? Does that motivate you? I don't know. I mean, it doesn't motivate me personally, but does it motivate your players? Maybe sometimes, but motivation like that's fleeting. You got to do it internally and have the will and want to win. So, that's how I look at it, when people ask me. So
I understand. I understand. Well, Coach, hey, any way you can get that motivation, that's I'm sure good for you and for the team. And I know the Rangers are always a highly motivated team. Picked 9th according to the preseason coaches poll here in the GAC. Coach Matt Walter, thank you so much for taking time with us today, and success to you and to the Rangers here in 2021.
Joey, I appreciate it. Always like talking to you, and thank you for your time. So, I hope for a great year, and I hope it goes off without a hitch and we don't get any pauses or anything, So
yes, sir.
I'm excited to get back on the field because that's what we love to do.